was a great docuseries on Netflix. Highly recommend you watch. And I mean, hey, Tasha and I both agree that Netflix comes out with some banger documentaries. Isn't that right, Tasha?
That is right. Netflix also comes out with some pretty cool movies. And that brings us to our next film that we're going to review, which is Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical. Going to foray into the musical section for a bit. This was a really sweet film. It was very family friendly. The cast and crew was like amazing. They had some pretty, rocking songs in there. It was a really a fun time. So for those of you who are not familiar, Roald Dahl was a children's author in the mid to late 20th century. Matilda, the book, first came out for kids in 1988. And since then, there have been a lot of iterations of the story. So there's been, I think the movie came out in like 1996, and then there was a Broadway play. So this new idea of Matilda was kind of a marriage of the two. Gotta say, these kids, I don't know what they're feeding them these days, but they're so talented. The way they dance, they can all sing, they can act. I watched it with my younger sister and we both cried, which is weird because it's a children's musical, but
There we go.
it was
When
fun.
a children's musical brings tears, that's how you know the director's doing a job right,
Exactly, pulling on the heartstrings, right? But yeah, it was a great time, and I highly recommend it. It was actually family friendly. I don't know, it was a lot of fun. Emma Thompson is in the film, and she does a lot of really creative things in her career, but this one was pretty fun just because her whole face was covered in prosthetics to make her look kind of like this big villain, and
Sure.
that was really fun to watch as well.
Who is like for the viewer at home that may not like know like who is Matilda, and is this like a coming of age type of story? Like what how does the story kind of follow?
So Matilda is about the titular character, Matilda Wormwood. She's I think she's elementary school age. She's kind of, yeah, trying to find her way in the world. She's born to two parents that are not very nice to her. And I think the film kind of covers themes of like found family and friendship and kind of how to navigate the world when you're facing these kinds of challenges. So yeah, it's got a good message for kids too. And she's just this extraordinary mind. She can actually literally move things with her mind. So she's got this
Wow.
kind of special thing going on for her. And it's just like a story of, I think, a coming of age. Yeah, like you said, Michael, like finding your way in the world and navigating these challenges when you're a kid can be tough.
Yeah, I mean that's great. And like I think one thing that's interesting, because if you guys are out there, if you follow us each week, last week we reviewed a musical on Apple TV with Will Ferrell, and was it called Enchanted? Was that what the name of the musical?
I think it was Spirited. Yes.
Spirited.
Yeah.
Apologies. We reviewed Spirited, which was a very similar type of a musical where we had a story that, we've all kind of seen, different iterations of it before. In that case, Spirited was about Ebenezer Scrooge and like the Christmas story. Here, though, we have like Matilda. It's kind of interesting to see that like there's a lot of these former stories being brought out of the woodwork again and being turned into a musical. And so like as you said, Tasha, like Netflix brought us a great musical. You said that the choreography was great, the direction was great. Well, overall, like when you think production, does it seem like a big label was definitely behind it and was able to bring a kind of new light to the story that we've seen before? Because Tasha, have you seen the prior Matilda movies and stuff?
I did, but I was like a kid at the time.
Sure.
Yeah,
So how
yeah.
does this one like kind of differ from it, given all those previous things?
Well, the previous iteration, excuse me, was not a musical. So I think that kind of had this one going for it. I think it borrowed stuff from the Broadway show. I think the other one, I kind of remember it being a little dark, I mean,
Yeah,
Matilda as a story is pretty dark. She goes through some pretty tough stuff as a kid. But yeah, they just packaged it in this way. It was bright. It was like, you know, fun to watch. I think it kind of makes it approaching these tough subjects for maybe kids or families like in a
sure,
really palatable way.
sure. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because like I think a lot of, if we talk about theater, which is a medium that we do cover on this show, in some areas, one might think that theater is kind of dying compared to what it used to be. And, possibly with, some big labels behind it, bringing them on to these major streaming platforms, maybe we'll see a different version of theater and musicals come to the big screen, here soon. Because, I mean, as we saw last week, I mean, it was just a great production. I mean, absolutely great production. And I take that to be true for Matilda as well. So, we might be seeing some of these, previous musicals that get performed quite a bit, with some big star actors on them. How is the cast on Matilda?
Cast was stellar, I think. I haven't seen the actress who played Matilda before, but she's a super talented kid. She can sing, she can dance, she can literally make you cry. It's looking forward to seeing what else she
Yeah.
does. The supporting cast, like I said, Emma Thompson, Lashana Lynch. She's been in James Bond movies and Marvel. It's got a pretty good supporting cast for sure.
And we just got done